Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another junk journal with me. It's another Christmas junk journal with me. So I have a previous video where I showed how I separated part of my journal and made it all dedicated to Christmas, and so this is just following on from that video. The next part, I've got two more parts, so this one and one more after that, of Christmas journaling, and that sort of finishes up this section. I hope you all had a really good Christmas and are still a little bit on the high of Christmas and seeing all your family and all that kind of thing. I know I am, and I like journaling as soon as I can after Christmas, or close to Christmas as I can, because all of the memories are really fresh, and I feel like if you let too much time go on, then you sort of don't feel like doing Christmas stuff once it's all done. So I feel like the sooner that you get it done, the better, which is why I've gotten all of my Christmas journaling finished. So the photos I have here are of just a couple of different things we did in December. So there's a couple of photos from my auntie's birthday that we attended, and there's also our Santa photo. I wanted to make sure that I left myself plenty of pages to do the rest of December, so Christmas and Boxing Day and Christmas Eve, and so I didn't want to go too crazy with this stuff. Using this wrapping paper, I was able to create an extra page, so I glued it down onto one half of that spread, and then I left the excess. Instead of gluing it down over the other side, I left it open so that it would become an extra page, and to make it thicker I just glued some other paper on the back of that. And also, to make sure that it was nice and secure as a page, I added some tape down the center of that, and that just helps sort of bind it into the book like the rest of the pages are and prevents it from peeling up. So that pretty gold Christmas wrapping paper was sent to me by my friend Renee, and I just thought it was so pretty, so I really wanted to include some in my own personal journal just to keep a piece of that forever. And so now you see me taking some Christmas tape and putting that down the center of the page to make sure that it's stuck in nice and well, but this particular tape ended up tearing just a little bit, which just sort of prevents it from being stuck in as well as I would like. So I ended up adding on top of that some more of that wide red washi tape that's a little bit stronger, and that just helped to secure everything into place. And like I said in the last Christmas junk journal with me video, a lot of this process is about building up the backgrounds of the pages and making it feel Christmassy. Because this is just my regular junk journal, it's not Christmas themed, and so I'm just trying to build up those backgrounds of the pages to make it feel more Christmassy and to give me something to start off with when I'm adding my ephemera. I think this one ended up being 2 pages, and then for the next video I just finish off the rest of the pages in this section. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the next part, so the next junk journal with me Christmas edition, very shortly after this one, so possibly on the same day or maybe one day after the other, so that they're not too far apart, and then we can sort of wrap up the Christmas journaling for this year. And I've really enjoyed using my normal junk journal for Christmas journaling and having this little section. The one thing about it is that it's ended up bulking up my journal a little bit more, and that's just because I've added so many layers, because I wanted to make the background of those papers be more Christmassy. So all of those background papers that I've added have sort of added up and added a bit of bulk to the journal itself. If I wanted to do this again, I think ahead of time I would plan, when I'm making my journal, to make one of the signatures Christmassy, and then I could use that for Christmas journaling, and that would sort of prevent some of that bulk that comes along with doubling up papers and sticking background pages on top of pages, so it just adds sort of twice as much paper that needs to be. So on this page I added one of the printable linens. This is from one of the Christmas packs, and then I added 2 photos from my auntie's birthday party, and I just stuck those on top of one another. And I like how all the colours in this page and in the photos sort of complement each other. There's nice green and red tones throughout both the page and the photos. And I guess because I'm adding papers to all the backgrounds of the pages, I'm trying to be a little bit more restrained with how much I add on top of that. So I'm trying to keep the pages pretty simple. I'm not doing that much interactive stuff as I sometimes like to do, but I think if I went too over the top, then it's just going to get too bulky. My journal itself is so full at the moment. I feel like it's towards being finished. There's quite a few pages left that I can journal on, but it's getting to the point where all the stuff that I've stuck in here is really starting to bulk it up, so I've got to start to be careful about how I finish up with the last pages in here. So usually when I get to this point in my journal, I'll try and do more writing and less gluing and sticking papers in, just so that it doesn't get too bulky, because I do want to be able to store the journal later. So you saw me punch a hole in the corner of that page, and I set an eyelet through that hole, and then that just allowed me to put some twine through and tie off this little, it's a little, they call it an ornament from the pet food store, and it was just like a little ornament that you get if you donate some money when you purchase pet food or whatever you're buying at the store. And so I thought, since it was a cardboard ornament, I would keep it in my journal rather than put it on the tree, and that way I could keep it for a longer period of time. And then I started working on the next page, but I had this clothing tag from the dress my daughter was wearing to the party, and I wanted to include this on the page because it's a nice sort of acetate heart, and so I thought I could use it as a photo frame. But then since it's got a hole punched out in it as well, I thought I would also attach it the same way as that little cardboard ornament and just have it sort of dangling from the top of that page. And also because it was ephemera from that particular event, because the dress the tag came on is the dress that she's wearing in the photo, I just thought I would keep it all together on the same page. And then moving back to that wrapping paper page, this is where I'm going to put the Santa photo that we got. And I'm also making a pocket on the opposite side so that I can slip some extra photos in. So I've got photos of Christmas lights that we went looking at, and then I've also got a picture of our kids and their friends. And so I just thought that I would make a little pocket. So I took a scrap of paper and I stitched it along the bottom of the page and just tucked those photos in there. And a lot of people ask me how I sew on the pages when my book's already bound. The truth is, it's just a matter of manipulating the book and sort of pulling all the other pages back into one hand and having just one page on the other side. It's really hard to explain without the visual, but it's quite tricky. It's not ideal. It's better to sew before you bind your pages, but sometimes I like to sew after, and so I just have to bend all the pages out of the way so that I can get it through my sewing machine. And it just sort of limits how much sewing you can do on a page and what sort of sewing you're able to do on the page. So just trying to work out where I want to stick the Santa photo. I decided I would back it onto some vintage music paper first, just to help it sort of stick out on the page and give it a bit of a border. And then I glued all of that down on the other side of the page on top of that pretty gold wrapping paper. And I apologise for the lighting in this video. I did film this video quite late in the afternoon, so towards the end of the video the sun started to go down and it got a little bit dark. But I really wanted to journal on this day, and I really wanted to get this video filmed as well, so that is why. I just have a couple of leftover pieces that I thought I might like to include in this spread. So there on the table you can see there's a paper doll clothing piece. That's a vintage piece, and it's of someone in their sort of snow gear, and they've got their mittens on. Obviously in Australia we don't have snow at Christmas, we have very hot summers, but I still associate like the snow and winter and mittens and all of that kind of stuff with Christmas, just because we're so influenced by, I guess we're so influenced by America, and a lot of the craft paper that we have is American or based in America, so a lot of it has that sort of symbols. And even the decorations that we have on our trees and the Christmas decorations that we have, it's all, I guess it's not very Australian because it's all related to snowy white Christmases, but that's okay, I still have that association, which is why I decided to include that little piece, and I really like how it turned out. So those are the pages that I did in this little journaling session, and like I said, I've got one more video coming. That's the last of the Christmas journaling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!